A lot of our trip will be taken in noble silence. And at first that may be difficult for you, but at the end you'll be so grateful, because our world is a crazy world which functions on distraction. And that is why we're so fragmented. But silence and peace enables us to tune our consciousness, so India, that is very subtle, can start sending us waves of insight and waves of subtle revelation. You'll see that you'll be able to experience so much more if you tune yourself to the deepest part of yourself. India will become, as it is for me, your beloved. And you'll realize that the beloved that is India, terrible and amazing and wonderful and beautiful and peaceful and funny as hell, will instruct you in ways that you cannot now imagine. Why I go on pilgrimage is to be with people like you, and I feel so grateful to be with people like you, because you're rich people, deep people. I don't mean wealthy, I mean rich in insight, rich in life, rich in suffering, rich in deep yearning, and that's an honor for me. But there's another reason why I love to take pilgrimages, and that is because God for me is the ultimate feast. I have realized the divine as glory, as immense beauty, as fabulous richness of truth. And a pilgrimage is the perfect place to experience God as the supreme feast, and to learn how constantly to feed from the food of grace that is always streaming towards us. We're living in a terrible apocalyptic time, but it's not the time for despair. It's the time for the lovers of God to turn up with more resplendence and joy and compassion and commitment to service than ever, to show the way, to inspire others. But to inspire others, we need to be radically inspired ourselves. And pilgrimage is the most ancient and the most beautiful and the most effective way of drinking the wine of the feasts, so that we can become soberly drunk and share that drunkenness with others, because God, are we all going to need it. What's going to happen now is that I'm going to give you a short instruction on mantra. And then I'm going to share with you a great supreme mantra, which we'll be practicing together for the next 11 days, because everything is contained in this supreme mantra. Everything you will ever need radiates from this mantra. I have spent 40 years being initiated into the major mystical systems, because I understood very early that God is one. That was the great gift of India to me. I had a Muslim driver as a boy. He used to pray 5 times a day, and I loved him. He was a thin, skinny little man of great radiance and faith. I had a Hindu cook whom I adored and who adored me. Whenever my parents would go out, he'd make me my favorite meal, which was scrambled eggs with tomato sauce. And he was a drunk, but a very happy drunk. And he would be swigging from his arak and talking to me about his experience of God. And he gave me, as a child, the most extraordinary instruction, which I never forgot. He said, God is beyond all names, and God is in everything. Look out. And I was standing on the balcony. God is in the stones, God is in the cars, God is in the people, God is in the wind, God is in the night, God is in the day. God is everything, and God is in everything. And I never forgot it. And when I was a little boy in Delhi, I had a white Russian godmother who was a Marlene Dietrich lookalike and had the longest cigarette holders that I have ever seen, and was always 62. Even on her tombstone, she was 62, although she died at 87. And she'd had a staggering, amazing life. She'd married several people, 3 Englishmen whom she thought were all rubbish, but they gave her hefty alimonies, and settled finally on one of the major architects of New Delhi, who did many of the embassies, an extraordinary, lovely man called Karl von Heinz. The only problem with Karl is that if you said you liked anything in his house, he would give it to you, because his heart was so prodigal. And then Bela would run down the stairs and said he didn't mean it and take it back. But Bela, although very, very worldly, was also very, very deeply spiritual. And her best friend was a woman called Shanti. And I didn't know for many years who Shanti was. I just knew her as this beautiful, aging Indian woman wrapped in white like a huge chocolate. And every afternoon when I came back from school, I'd run up the stairs to Bela's house. Bela would say, "Hi, my darling," and I would jump into bed with Bela and Shanti, because they used to rest together in the afternoons. This big, beautiful old Indian woman and this wild Marlene Dietrich lookalike, and me like a little sausage in between them. That woman, Shanti, was one of India's greatest saints. At the age of 8, she'd been walking down a village just outside Delhi, and she'd gone up to a man and said, "You're my husband, and I know you're worried about the money that I hid, but it's under the brick at the back of the house, which is colored red. Look for it and you'll find it." Yeah. And Shanti, in fact, was one of the most famous healers and also one of the very few accredited cases of reincarnation. Because after this extraordinary incident, and she called her husband by the private names that they used when they were lovers, and she identified all the members of the family, and she talked to people in the village that she'd known in her life before. A group of English journalists went with her to her village, very skeptical English journalists with spectacles like mine and Oxford educations and snotty minds, the kind. Well, if you don't know the kind, I do, and I can introduce you to about 4 million of them. And she, every afternoon, would give me instruction. And one day I was lying between Bela and Shanti eating chocolates, because that's what they love to do, these 2 old birds, eat chocolates, and Bela would be smoking very dramatically like Marlene Dietrich, in the early films. And Shanti said, you must never be afraid of death. She said, it's wonderful, death. And I'll tell you what happened to me last time I died. I left my body, and there was this great tunnel, and there was this blazing light, and in it appeared Krishna. And I love Krishna, and Krishna's so beautiful, and he hugged me and he kissed me, and he said, "You've had a good life, you're a wonderful person, but I want you to do something for me. I want you to go back to the earth, and I want you to heal in my name hundreds of thousands of people." And she said, "I saw Krishna because I believe in Krishna, I'm a Hindu. But if you believe in Jesus, you'll see Jesus. If you believe in Buddha, you'll see Buddha. One God, many faces, one truth, many paths." So between my drunken Hindu cook and Shanti Devi, I received as a child the ultimate instruction in unity. And it's that vision that India gave me as a child. that has been unfolding through all the different levels of my work. And that's why coming back to Delhi with you is so sacred and so amazing for me. The most important thing I have learnt on the mystical path has to do with mantra. I have studied and been initiated into the major mystical systems, and I swear to you upon my immortal soul that in each of the great mystical systems, the greatest teachers will tell you that the surest, most vivid, most effective, most vibrant, most powerful way of establishing the direct connection between you and your vast you, between your personality and your divine self, between you as a human being and the full glory and power and presence of the divine, is mantra. Because mantra is a vibration, and the whole universe is created out of a miraculous, mysterious play of sound and light. And there will come a moment on your pilgrimage of the soul when you will be given a direct experience of this, and it will blind you with ecstasy. You will hear the music that the universe is making, the music of creation, a music so glorious that even Beethoven on crack can't get anywhere near it. And you will know why saying the name of God is the most powerful way of connecting directly with the vibration that is emanating the entire creation, that is the vibration of yourself. Don't believe me, I might be crazy. Well, I am obviously crazy. Try it, and it will help you more than any other practice. Mantra means protection of the mind. Man is mind, tra is protection. And what we most need as human beings is protection from our monkey mind. The mind that constantly spins stories of despair, lack of worth, helplessness, paralysis, inability really to achieve anything. You know the story that goes on in your mind. Or the mind that, when it becomes inflated, imagines that we're already Jesus or the Buddha because we're so awake. Both are the ego mind. The ego mind will either be central stage in misery or central stage in massive hubris, pride and inflation. Both are delusions, and both will trap you for years if you don't remember to remember who you really are, which is nothing less than the divine self. In the Hindu scriptures, the Upanishads, which I'll be reading to you from the moment, the great phrase, the great revelation is Tat Tvam Asi. It's said by a Brahmin to his son, and that means, you, my darling boy, my little baby boy. He's speaking to his little son. He said, you aren't just this little boy. You are that little boy, and you will grow, and you'll get married, and you'll have children, and then one day you'll die. But remember now and always that you are that. You are the full divine. This is the mad gift of God to each human being. The gift of not original sin, but original blessing. The kiss that God has given each one of us is the gift at the core of our being, of divine consciousness. And the whole point of being a human being is to believe that, because it's what has been told us by all of the greatest mystics and shamans of all of the religions, because they know that. I know that. And many of you know that. I know that. I don't believe that. I know that. To remember that is the secret of life, because if you have an authentic mantra practice, and if you discover through practicing it authentically just how powerful it is, you can do it anywhere. You could do it when you're on the toilet, you could do it in the bath, you can do it when you're cooking a meal for friends, you can do it walking to the post office. And what happens when you bring the mantra into the core of your life is that you thread the whole of your life, the carpet of your life, with a thread of burning gold. And you know, whenever you come, as we will all come, to great tragedy, to moments of horror, to moments of profound desolation, to moments of deepest heartbreak, you'll know that you will have in the mantra an extraordinary support, something that will put you together again in ways much larger and vaster than before you were shattered. So what I'm going to read to you now is the supreme text about mantra. And it comes from the greatest of all scriptures of humanity in many ways, the Upanishads, the central texts of Hinduism, but texts that go beyond any religion, because these texts were created by sages in northern India in about the 6th or 7th century BC, and they register a monumental breakthrough of humanity from being in archaic indigenous consciousness, which is the foundation of our awareness, a unity with nature, into a radical knowledge that our fundamental nature is the source of nature itself, the transcendent light, the burning, shattering, glorious, divine white light, which you will see one day, as I see it, as hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people have been graced to see it. And you will know when you see it that you're seeing it with its own eyes, because you are a hologram of it. You are a light drop of its infinite ocean of light. And in that light drop are a million facets which reflect all of the facets of all of the other light drops, because the hologram of the infinite, through a mystery that no one will ever be able to explain, because only God knows, is also the sea itself. This is a discovery that will fill your life with ecstatic joy when it starts to become real for you. And it's my prayer that on this trip, the seed for that momentous discovery, which even the greatest poets can never describe in its beauty, in the awe and the wonder of it, will be yours. That you will have the seed planted so deeply, or if you've had it already planted even deeper, so that in this age of horror and terror, you will wake up and you will serve humanity from a place of joy and peace and surrender. Whatever the hell or heaven happens, everything could blaze away. We could destroy ourselves soon. We could have a miraculous change of heart soon. No one has the slightest idea, because everything depends on the choices that we make right now. This is the most important moment in human history. We're in the most important moment of human history in which everything will be decided. So what you decide on this bus to dedicate your life to has never been more important. Every human turning to the divine ripples out in miraculous ways to the rest of humanity. So you're turning to do your devotion in the full knowledge that you are a blessed child of God with the original blessing of divine consciousness. Your commitment to keep that knowledge and that bliss alive in you is a commitment you don't just take for yourself. You take it on behalf of the whole of humanity. And if you wake up and become a light, that light has effects which you will never know. But when you cross over the river of death, and this is Shanti telling me, you will realize just how much your illumination gave to everyone who met you and everyone in the world. The stones, the trees, the animals, the grass. You will know, and your heart will be filled with the most amazing joy that you could be graced a life in which you could realize this and offer it tenderly by your presence to others. So, enough talking. Let's hear the great words of the Shvetashvatara Upanishad. Let's hear those words. One of the funniest things of these trips is that I have to do this, but this is very humbling because usually I like to strut about, so now I'm just a helpless human being clutching a book in a jolting book. So this is very good for me. Listen with your soul to news of yourself. Listen with your whole life's experience to the truth of your life. All is change in the world of the senses, but changeless is the Lord of love. Meditate on Him. Be absorbed in Him. Wake up from this dream of separateness. Know God, and all fetters will fall away. No longer identifying yourself with the body or the personality. Go beyond birth and death. All your desires will be fulfilled in Him, who is one without a second. Know Him. Know Him. To be enshrined within your heart, always. Truly, there is nothing more to know in life. Meditate and realize the world is filled with the presence of God. And here comes the instruction of the mantra, and it's very profound. So listen. Listen, and you'll have an instruction beyond instruction, something that no words can give. Fire is not seen until one fire stick rubs against another, though the fire remains hidden in the fire stick. So does the Lord remain hidden in the body until He is revealed through the mystic mantra. Let your body be the lower fire stick, and let the mantra be the upper. Rub them together in meditation and realize the Lord. Like oil in sesame seeds, like butter in cream, like water in rivers, like fire in a fire stick, so dwells the Lord of love, the Self, in the depths of consciousness. Realize Him through truth and meditation. The Self is hidden in the hearts of all, as butter lies hidden in cream. Realize the self in the depths of meditation, the Lord of love, supreme reality, who is the goal of all knowledge. This is the highest mystical teaching. This is the highest mystical teaching. And very honestly, if you only knew this teaching, you would not need any other. Because through the practice of the mantra, through the devoted practice of the mantra, through the incessant practice of the mantra, through the going to the mantra, as they say in the text, like an elephant in the heat of afternoon goes to the cool of the lake to refresh itself. Realizing the power of the mantra will help you through many different experiences that will come as grace. Through all the troubles of your life and the revelations of your life, will help you one amazing day know that you are that. So I'm going to just read those section on the mantra again, because you'll realize the more you listen what's being said here. When you say a mantra, like the mantra I'm going to give to you, which is the supreme mantra of the mother in evolution, you could not be given a more powerful mantra than this. When you say it in the core of your heart, you set up a vibration which over time, and this is the great mystery, will open your heart center. Your heart center is not the physical heart. It's about 2 inches to the right, here, at the bottom of the chest here. And as you do the practice, this center will open in the most amazing ways, and you'll start to feel heat, passion in that center, because that vibration will engender a sweet fire there, which will be the presence of the beloved in you. You will feel that fire, and you will know, you won't believe, you will know that the beloved is living in you as that secret fire in the core of your heart. And there's a great Muslim text of the 9th century, and the Muslims too, of course, use mantra, and I will be teaching you the great Muslim mantra when we get to the Taj Mahal, for reasons that I will reveal to you before we see the Taj Mahal. Because the Taj Mahal is an even greater building than you can imagine, and there are new discoveries about the whole layout and the whole vision behind the Taj Mahal that will blow the top of your head off. But I'm not going to risk that right now, because we're starting on our pilgrimage, and I don't want to take decapitated people to the airport. When you start working with the mantra, you realize that your human self is the cream, and that as you work and work with the mantra, you're churning that cream of your body, heart, mind. And slowly, through dreams, through revelations, through readings, through meeting people who have realized the divine, you will start having the experiences that will show you the truth of what the great mystics are saying. And you will realize for yourself. But the mantra is the way to churn the cream, so that the butter of divine realization can start being so deliciously tasty to your heart mind. This is not a path of misery, my friends. This is the great royal path of joy. Joy, joy, joy. Before I give you the mantra, I want to talk about something that Helen and I share very deeply, because Helen is a very sincere and very humble practitioner of one of the greatest paths in Hinduism, Kashmir Shaivism. And one of the great revelations at the core of Kashmiri Shaivism, and in fact at the core of all authentic Hindu mysticism, is that it's not enough just to practice the mantra. That's wonderful and it will have great effects. What is very important, and I cannot stress this enough, and I want to stress it passionately to you, because it will be initially strange to you and perhaps unfamiliar to you, is the view, what is called the view with which you practice the mantra. What is this view? It goes like this, my friends. If what all of the realized mystics of all of the traditions are telling us is true, if you are really that, if you are really a hologram of the whole universe, if in your human body the beloved is living in you as you, then you do never practice as a beggar. You don't practice as a flawed, wrecked, karmically disturbed human being. Because if you practice like that, you will get something. But you are not turning up in the practice as your real self. And if you turn up in the practice as your real self, you will be given an even deeper experience through the magnificent mercy of God, through the prodigal generosity of God. You'll be given an even deeper, richer, wilder, holier experience of yourself. So when you begin to practice mantra, you take all of the different experiences that you've had in your life, the moments when the veil was lifted, the moments when music captured you and you were enraptured, the moments when you were making love to someone you loved very much and were loved by and you drowsed in unity, the moments when you communed with a friend and there was something miraculously present there between you in your eyes and in your gestures. You remember all of those amazing moments. And you realize that all of those amazing moments are rays of light from the sun of your essential self. You realize that they're all glimpses into the great abyss of light that your essential consciousness is. And so you begin in your practice by imagining yourself in the fullest, richest, most glorious, most vivid, most humble, most rapturous, most fun way imaginable, as a free, joyful, peaceful, loving, realized being. And then you do the mantra. You don't ever do the mantra from a position of beggardom, of need, of lack, because the whole point of the mantra is to remember who you really are. And this is very unfamiliar to Western practitioners, because the Church has done such a great job on all of us to show us that we are just helpless sinners who need the priests and the whole wretched theology to have us hope of salvation. This is horseshit. We need to do an immense amount of work, but we're already the children of God. Our whole life is about realizing that. So start by the view, and start by truly imagining yourself when you are transfigured in mind and heart and luminous body, and feel the peace and the beauty and the joy and the radiance that will be yours on that amazing moment when you are born in the fullness of what God wants to birth you into in this life, not in any other life to come, in this life as you. And then when you do the mantra, you do it with confidence. You do it as one magnificent tiny little being radiating gratitude to the great magnificent one that through some mystery of mad generosity you are one with. So let's do this great mantra, and I'll explain a little about the mantra. Are you with me so far? Is this exciting for you? Hinduism is wildly exciting. When you get to the truth of Hinduism, you think, why did I ever believe anything else but this? Because there's something in us that knows we wouldn't be here except for some amazing purpose. And the amazing purpose is to wake up and to realize and embody this, and then to live the free, wild, holy, exuberant life that flows from this. And by holy, I don't mean having a Sanskrit name or being a priest. You can be a husband, you can be a merchant, you can be a politician, you can be a lawyer, you can be a banana seller. One of the holiest people I ever met sells cigarettes at 85 in a little stall in Benares. I'll take you to meet her. She's my favorite person in Benares. She's completely realized. Some of the priests don't know anything. She knows everything, and she's just a cigarette seller. She's a holy person. Holiness is not the privilege of the churches. It's a quality of beauty and generosity in a being. Okay? So let's get that one over and done with. The mantra I want to share you is immensely grand mantra, and I thought which mantra I would share with you, because there are so many. But I thought, why not? Let's go for broke. Because Trump may blow up the world before his India visit. You know he's coming to India on February the 24th. So anything can happen with that madman and his podgy fingers on the nuclear button. So we might as well be realized today. Shall we do that? Yes. Don't you think? Absolutely. Let's go for it. This is such a gorgeous mantra. It is Om Namo Bhagavate. O-M Namo N-A-M-O B-H-A-G-A-V-A-T-E. Bhagavan, as you know, is one of the great names for God in Hinduism. Ramana Maharshi, my beloved, was called by his disciples, quite rightly, Bhagavan. And it's one of the great blessings of my life that my father, as a young policeman, was in charge of the district in which Ramana was living, and he saw Ramana Maharshi every day for the last 3 years of his life. So I have a connection from the depths of my family with the greatest sage of the last 1,000 years for many of us. One day I'll take you to his ashram. He's not dead, Ramana Maharshi, let me tell you. He's never been more alive since he's no longer in a body. He's everything. Om Nama Bhagavate. And in the ancient scriptures, the word Bhaga is said to have 6 great glorious qualities. And just listen, because these 6 great glorious qualities belong to the divine, but they also belong to you as the true self that you are endeavoring to uncover. And all of you have aspects of all of these things that need beefing up through mantra, so that your full nature, your full God nature, can be present. And in the scriptures they say that Bhaga has the following 6 qualities. And I'm going to read them slowly so that you can participate with your imagination in these qualities. The role of the sacred imagination in devotion is so important because we're meant to use all of ourselves in our love for God. To love God with the mind, to love God with the heart, to love God in the depths of the body, to love God when we're running, to love God when we're making love, to love God when we're cuddling our cat, to love God when we're eating, to love God in everything as everything. The first quality is splendor. Splendor. The ultimate revelation is of the white light when you see it through grace. It's a diamond light and everything vanishes and only the light is there, and then everything reappears and you realize that everything is crystallized light energy. And the astrophysicists have just discovered this, but the mystics have known it for thousands of years. Thank God science is finally disrupting its own certainties by discovering a universe as mad and paradoxical as those mystics that we love so have already known. And most scientists are having a nervous breakdown over it because quantum physics has detonated their own deepest vanities. It's very, very funny. I love it. Splendor. Imagine the image that always comes to me is of the Hubble telescope. For me, the photographs of the Hubble telescope are the most extraordinary things that we have on the earth. Whenever I feel, oh my God, the human race is committing suicide, what the hell is all of this about? I just go to my book of photographs of the Hubble telescope and remember what the Sufis call the Kibriya, the glory of God. These billions of miles of golden red light that create supernovas that explode and die and are resurrected. The madness of the glory of the creation. Splendor. And all that's inside you. If it's inside me, it's inside you. It was very disappointing when I had my first really major mystical experience, which was in India, in Mahabalipuram, and I was walking at night on the shore, and I saw that my footprints were luminous. And I thought, oh my God, I am the Buddha. And then I realized everybody else's footprints were also luminous. So everyone is this. The second quality is heroism. God is noble. How rarely you hear that word in our world, noble. There's nothing nobler than the divine, because it's absolutely magnanimous. It's filled with mercy. It's love radiating ultimate grace at all moments from an infinite store of beauty and truth. That's you. Your splendor, your heroism, your nobility. The third meaning of Bhaga is grandeur. Grandeur. When you're in the presence of someone who has realized the divine, and I'm thinking of the Dalai Lama, you will, first of all, you'll be very moved by their sweetness, their fun, their joy, their warmth. But as you get to know them better, you realize that they have in them an inalienable dignity which nothing you do can shake. And you realize that what's really living in them, behind the play, behind the sweetness, behind the joy, is grandeur. Because God is grandeur. And when you know, through the grace of God, that you're one with God, your whole being is rooted in grandeur, in a sense of infinite dignity. Rumi says in one of his greatest poems, he says, give a great dignity to your life, my friends, for eternal love has designed you to hold its eternal wine. When you begin to know that in this wreck of an Englishman lives the eternal one. You're amazed at the dignity that God accords to you. And slowly, despite yourself, you claim that dignity for yourself in the name of God. The fourth quality is harmony. Harmony. And harmony is not a passive smoothing over of difficulties. Harmony is being able to dance with the opposites in such a way that you always keep a dancer's balance between terror and beauty, life and death, light and dark. It's something that the dancer knows. So harmony is not just the gift of making harmonious possibilities available. It's living in such a way that whatever comes towards you, you know is being sent by God, and because you're rooted in the mantra, you can accept it as coming from God and dance with it in a way that allows its music to fill your being with rapture. And this is an extraordinary experience, because when you realize this harmony, heartbreak will have bliss in it. Losing all your money, you'll laugh because you'll realize now you have an opportunity to live simply, and you'll rush to that. You won't be terrified. You will find the secret meaning, the secret harmony in whatever happens. The fifth is consciousness, being awake at all moments in divine consciousness. And the sixth is detachment. And this is not coldness. Detachment is perhaps the wrong word. Maybe the right word is unattachment. Worlds come and go. Cultures rise, cultures fall. Everything is impermanent. The universes die and are remain. So if you stay in the mystery of consciousness, whatever happens in the world or to you, including death itself, will be greeted spaciously. So let me just go through those again. Richness, heroism, grandeur, harmony, consciousness, detachment. All of those qualities radiate from the divine, and all of those qualities, you now know, are inside you, waiting to be evolved into their richest and most glowing form through the practice of the mantra. How far are we from the airport? We're there. We will practice this mantra tonight, Om Namo Bhagavate, but I would invite you to start saying it on the flight, in silence. Don't read on the flight. You can always read. Don't chatter on the flight. Use that time and let this mantra become part of you, and I will dive deeper when we have a chance. Thank you, my friends. God bless you. We have begun, and we're going to go deep together. God keep you wild, safe,